Okay, here's where we left off in the last session. We had all our plants in, and now we're going to do the final step of making us feel more like that we're sitting on the bottom of the ocean and looking at all of this. So we need this to be more like it's water. The light is more diffused. There's particles in the water that we need to see, and we need to see some bubbles, some action here, basically, is what we want. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to create a folder. And I'm just going to call it environment because it's just the final settings, the final overlays of everything that will just bring this out more. And I've created it below the plants. So here are all the plants. So it is, the plants won't get, be affected by this, but everything else will. So I will, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move our sketch layer, just drop it into the storyboard so it's out of our way. We don't need it anymore. Now go back to environment and add layer, and this is where we're going to work from, is from this environment folder. Okay, let's change the folder, the through, because these are all going to have layer blending modes added to them. So in the very first one, I want to create, like there's particles in the water. You know, if you ever, you know, if you're in the ocean and you look, you just see things are floating around everywhere. I don't want to go that far, but I do want to make you feel like that there's something in there. So I'm going to go to filter and render and Perlin noise. I'm going to set the scale at 2. The amplitude 1 is probably fine, and the attenuation I'm going to go with 0.5, just like that. And so I let it draw in, and then we're going to make it an overlay. So now you can see, let's just a hint that there's things floating around in there. The next thing I want to do is kind of give it more diffusion. So we're going to drop in a color, and right now I'm just going to pick an arbitrary color. I know it's going to have to be blue, kind of maybe a color that would be more towards the Caribbean or maybe Hawaii, something like that, you know. And then we're going to change it to a hard light. And of course that's way too bright, but you're getting the idea here. And so what we're going to do, let's see what colors I want, and then I'll just bring this on right on down. Need it just a little bit brighter. And you start to get a feel for that you're in water. But what I've got to watch for is these shadows right here, because if this goes too bright, you know, then I'd have to go back and adjust those. And I don't really need to do that because its brightness was correct. It's just, I need it to feel more diffused. Let's go there, and you can see now kind of the difference. It does bring it out, kind of diffuse it some more. Now the fun part, I'm going to add another layer here. I'm going to change its blending mode to glow. I want this, the color, to be closer to white. And then I'm going to do our the stone scraping airbrush, because it's perfect for just kind of, creating little streams of bubbles. One thing about the bubbles is they're going up, they get, they start to get bigger because there's less pressure. And so I'm going to add one more layer. And with this one, we're going to add our fish. So I'm going to go to, I've got a fish brush that I created. And I'll show you how that's, how to create your own fish brush. I'm going to click on this wrench here, which brings up the brush settings. You go to the brush shape, and it's, you don't have to change anything here. Just leave it as it is. The tip, see, it's just that what I did was I actually purchased these from the Clip Studio. You can paint your own, you can do whatever you want, but just make sure you have enough variety in here. 2 is probably not enough, but you could add 3 or 4, and then set it to in the spray effect and the stroke. Yeah, it's the stroke. We want it to be ribbon and random, so it'll just bounce back and forth between those two. So if you get more, you'll get more variation as you draw this school of fish just swimming by. That's done. You just need to do it from pretty much from all of these. The texture, nothing there. It's just the brush tip. It's just these guys here, which is a registered material. So once I get the artwork that I want, then I register it as material with a transparent background, and try to get as many of them in here as you can. Okay, so we can close this out and I'll show you now. So there's my brush, and so what I'll do, maybe make it just a little bit bigger, and as you draw it, see how it creates the fish, and then I'm going to slowly just kind of make them disappear into the distance. And we'll put maybe some bigger ones in here and have them kind of, hey guys, where are you going? Let us follow you. And there you go, something like that. And you can, add them wherever you want. There we go. This is where we will end this painting and say it's complete. You can do a lot more with it, more details in the rocks. I mean, maybe different kinds of plants, different color plants. You can do all sorts of stuff with this now that you have it, and just make it more alive. Maybe put in some jellyfish or something that are just kind of lazily floating around in there. There we go. I think that's going to end this one. And so on the next session, we'll start all over again with a brand new subject painting. I don't know what it will be yet, but we'll decide on what it is, and we'll start going from there. So I hope you enjoyed this series, and hope you will join us in the next series.